So let's see about the bot front here. Let me go ahead and delete this and
There are
do
two ways
this.
to handle the bot front. One of them is my way of crying yourself to sleep at night.
Yep. Um, I'm gonna lean more in on this one, because I definitely generically run better bot builds than I do bug builds as a heavy armor player. The reason you want to run heavy armor into bots instead of light armor is because running from the bots does nothing because you'll never be faster than laser beams. Um, they can reach out and touch you. Accuracy through volume of fire is how they do things. A lot of people used to complain, "Oh, the bots are so accurate. These heavy machine gun bots are just unbelievably accurate." It's less that they were accurate and more that they fired like 50 shots at you, and that might as well have been a shotgun because if they tag you with 3 of them, you're dead. Like it just kind of was what it was. But yeah.
You're
So you
right.
definitely want to run heavy. We're gonna go ahead and talk about armor passives right away. There's some really good ones here. Siege ready is, as usual, always really good. Having better reload speed and ammo capacity into the bots is rock solid because they will kind of entrench you sometimes where you're not necessarily able to get out of the spot that you're in for a little while. You kind of have to sit there and work them for a little bit, try to cut their numbers down because what they like to do is spread out around you and aim at one point to where the kind of fan of death eventually puts you down.
This is also partially why light armor is not nearly as good, because it's harder to break through their line when you're only killing like one person with your stratagems.
Yes. So another really good one because the bots like to just fire a crap ton of explosives is going to be fortified. That's going to be my number one recommendation for what to run into them is going to be either fortified or democracy protects. If you don't want to run heavy armor, please do not sleep on democracy protects for the bots. Not being able to die through chest hemorrhages is really good in the bots because they have a really good time of doing that to you because the lasers will more than likely hit your chest than your arms, legs, or head. Extra padding is a good answer here, and medkit is a good answer here. But in the order that I mentioned them, like siege ready or fortified, then we're talking democracy protects, then extra padding and medkit. Having the extra stims into the bots is good, but like you probably are not going to need to survive multiple hits as often as you're going to need to survive just getting blasted by a rocket and then slammed into a rock face somewhere. So the bots are where your light armor weapons in the assault rifle category are going to start to actually shine. They're not generally very good into bugs because you just need so many bullets, and the bugs are going to ask you to use a lot of bullets on them. You're going to run out of ammo pretty quickly. Bots are a precision enemy type. You really want to not waste your shots. I am really, truly a big fan when I go into the bots of taking the crossbow, and the reason for that is going to be stratagem related. Okay. Uh, Before we go too much further, let's talk about like what we're trying to solve on the bot front. So we have some similar stuff that we had on the bug front here, but one of the things that sticks out a lot is factory striders.
The bane of my existence.
Yeah, factory striders and not having a good answer to factory striders is going to make the bot faction significantly harder from you or for you just from the jump.
To really stress how important this is, we played back when factory striders were first introduced, and we didn't respect them enough. We figured it would be, standard operating procedure. We lost an entire mission because a single factory strider dropped, and the only real answer we had to it was airstrike.
Yep.
And by the time we had gotten enough airstrikes to kill it, they had called in another one, and we'd lost already three-fourths of our revives.
Yes. Other than that, we're talking about tanks, and it's all variety of tanks, except for the barrager tank, which is going to be barragers, and hulks. So you're gonna need an answer to shield devastators. You're gonna need an answer to regular devastators and butchers. You're gonna need an answer to the striders and walkers, especially the rocket variety. Basic bot clear. It's not the biggest, most important thing, but you're gonna need it. So we've started with the crossbow. We've explained all the things that this is really, really good at. So this is really, really good at shield devastators. So that's knocked out. This is really good at devastators and butchers. So that's knocked out. It's really, really good at all of these enemies because it does have an explosion, which means it'll fuck these enemies up even if you miss. But also, if you direct hit them, the bolt is medium pin. So it'll screw those enemies up pretty good. Good as basic bot clear. It's an AoE explosive weapon. So if you fire it in the middle of a bunch of bots, and they're the small ones, whether they come from a bot drop or they're walking in a patrol, you can clear a majority of them. For patrols, that'll keep them from making call-ins, from dropping out of dropships. That means there's, less enemies just in general for you to deal with, and that's going to be the rocket guys. That's going to be the assault rifle guys. That's going to be the guys who run around with the sword hands, and the commissars, who are going to be very, very quick to call in a bot drop as soon as it's possible, because that's what commissars love to do. For fabricators, it's also able to do that. It's not going to help you so much with detector and disruptor towers, and it's not going to help you with cannons. But you notice your primary weapon has already done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things for you. That's a big deal. Like, we're very happy about that. It is doing some work into factory striders because it will have the ability to kill the chin guns, but that is not a solution to the factory strider, so it does not get a point here.
Not only does it do 5 things, it's also one-handed, letting you carry any mission objectives you need.
But that is obviously mission objective specific, so since we're considering the bots in a vacuum of bot enemy types and not necessarily mission variables,
I'm just pointing out how stupid the crossbow is in the boss.
Look. I will be the first person to say I love the crossbow. It needs a nerf. It's not the Eruptor's fault that the Eruptor feels bad. It's the crossbow's fault the Eruptor feels bad. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay. So, as far as secondaries go, all right, we have some options here. All right. Now, there are a lot of people that will tell you there are no options with secondaries going into bots because the GP31 ultimatum exists. Those people are not entirely wrong. All right.
Great weapon.
It's a fantastic weapon. Okay.
But the Senator puts in a lot of work now with its buff.
Right. So, the ultimatum is really good at a lot of things here. Okay. If you have both shots with it, it will give you an answer to factory striders. It is not a good enough answer to factory striders to qualify as an answer to factory striders, but it will work for you in a pinch. It's really good at knocking out tanks because it will one-shot tanks. It's really good at knocking out hulks. It will one-shot hulks. It is really good at knocking out everything else here because it will one-shot literally everything in the game except for the factory strider. What it is most brought for is detectors and disruption tower kills. All right. I make the argument that despite how good this weapon is as an answer to any of these things, the true fact is it's really only good for this one thing here, and that's detector and disruptor tower kills. Now, is it a crutch then? I argue yes, it is a crutch then. This is the entire reason that it was nerfed. It was over-nerfed. It was unnecessarily nerfed, in my opinion, because it only does this one thing into this faction. You only ever get 2 shots with it, unless you bring a supply backpack, in which case you get 5 shots with it. But still, like, you're not getting that much work out of it. You do have to close a huge amount of gap to make use of it. And there are some things in the game that just do as good a job into this stuff that, like, you're not realistically missing out on not having the ultimatum. If disruptors cause you that much trouble, take this item, okay? But it is not necessarily the best idea for a good build here because you have a lot of other options that can do some really good stuff for you. One is going to be the Senator. The other is going to be the Verdict. The other is going to be the
Verdict,
Loyalist
my beloved.
or the Talon. All right. And the reason I bring all of these items up is because the the Senator is heavy penetration. The Verdict is medium penetration. The Loyalist is medium penetration with a little bit of AoE. And the Talon is medium penetration with basically infinite ammo. Any of these can operate for you as a primary of sorts, since you don't necessarily just want to use the crossbow on everything. The crossbow does not particularly have ammo issues if you're not just spamming it like a psychopath, but having both of these side by side basically means, if there's a group of enemies, crossbow. If it's one enemy, sidearm. Very straightforward. Not the hardest game plan to going into things. And again, the bots are not going to rush you down, except for the butchers, in the same way that the bugs are going to. So it does give you a little bit more time to see and decide what you need to be doing next. So that's nice. Now, in my opinion, we are running the Senator for this loadout that I'm going to be doing here. And the reason we're running the Senator here is because the Senator, if you get any good with it, which does not take that long, is a killer answer to Hulks. All right. It also will solve a ton of other enemies here. So, with the Senator, we now have an answer to Hulks. We absolutely have an answer to shield generators because it will two-shot their arm, or shield devastators because it will two-shot their arms. Devastators and butchers, you're looking at 3 or 4 shots to the chest with this. So that's doing a good bit of work. There's quite a bit of ammo in this weapon, to be honest. It's very precise, so you are going to be able to deal with Barrager, Striders, and Walkers. It's heavy pen, so it's doing full damage to these enemies. You're not getting a damage reduction from being medium pen into these. I wouldn't really use it for basic bot clear. If you're doing that, you're kind of putting a damper in yourself because it is a little bit precise to be running something like that. You're not necessarily doing fabricator kill, and you're not necessarily doing disruptor tower kill here. However, this weapon is pretty damn good at killing cannons as well. You can kill scout cannons with it by just making sure you're aiming dead on at them. It will go through it. You do have
Oh
to
my
use
god, it's
about a
heavy
mag
pin.
and a
It'll
half.
do that.
Huh?
I never thought about that. It's heavy pin. It'll kill those. No.
It will. It takes about a mag and a half to do so because their health is pretty decent, but you
Wow, you're
can go to
making me
work with
like the
them.
Senator. How are you doing this?
And also, if you can get to any tank on the heatsink, just dump a mag. Okay, dump a mag into the heatsink on the regular tanks. Dump a mag into the heatsink on the cannon turrets. It's gonna do some work for you. It's also accurate enough to knock the chin guns off of factory striders in about, I want to say, 5 shots each, which is a lot, but it can do it. Okay, and it's gonna do it from a better range than the crossbow is, because the crossbow is a bit hard to aim at 200 meters. This is not nearly as much so. All right. So we are going to give a point for cannon clear on that. So now, you've already solved, like we said, 2 things. 100%, I'm sorry, 3 things. You've 100% solved 3 things. That's shield devastators, regular devastators and butchers, and barrage striders and walkers. Those things are solved now. You're at 2 with those. You can comfortably say you've got a good set of answers for those things. Grenades into bots are where you start to determine what everything else does in your kit. Okay? You should not touch stratagems on your bot builds until you've figured out what grenade you're going to take in the bots. Because what grenade you take determines what answers you have, period, to some of the most problematic enemies in the faction. All right? And so there are 3 options here. Okay? Your first option is the good old thermite. Thermite is really, really good at killing tanks. It's really, really good for factory striders because if you put all 3 on their face, you can get them killed. You can do it. You have to put it right on the factory strider's eye, but if you can do it, you have a good answer in the back pocket of you. And it is good enough to qualify for it because if other members of your team are doing damage to that factory strider, 1 or 2 of these is going to be enough to finish it off. Okay? Thermite's also good at killing fabricators because you can just stick it to the side wall of a fabricator. It does have enough demolition force and damage to just kill a fabricator outright by just sticking it to the side. You don't have to worry about
Oh
aiming
my
into the
god.
vents. You don't have to worry about putting it in the open door. It'll just do it for you. You're good to go. Stick it to a tank. Tank is dead. Make sure you get it to the turret. Don't try to stick it to the main body of the tank. That's going to fuck you up. You're going to need two. Don't want to waste ammo like that. Hulks, you get one of these on a Hulk. That Hulk is fried. Good to go.
Even better than
Cannons, fried. One, good to go. Don't worry about it. All right? Very, very good. Great reason to bring thermites. They solve a lot of problems for you. Second option for you. This is going to sound weird to some people, but this is a really good second option. The G50 Seeker Grenade. All right? Why are we taking the Seeker Grenade? We are taking the Seeker Grenade because gunships are fucking annoying. Okay? Gunships can be the one thing that you do not have a solid answer for in your loadout, which I am going to go ahead and put in here, because I did forget to mention gunships. If you don't have an answer to gunships, which, big surprise, the flying enemy is a goddamn nightmare, you're going to have some trouble into the bot faction, because occasionally there will be gunship patrols, or you will get a gunship fabricator that is just constantly spawning 2 of them at a time, and you'll eventually have 6 of them in the air from that one fabricator. If you have more than one fabricator and you get like the double event one where it's the twin towers, you've got 12 of them things to fucking worry about, and now we're in nightmare territory.
And they can
Okay?
be hard to hit with precision weapons.
And they're kind of annoying to hit with precision weapons, and they have a pretty decent amount of health. So even with your medium pin weapons or your heavy pin weapons, they still have a decent enough amount of health that they're gonna get shots off at you. All right, and they're kind of inaccurate, and they do run out of missiles. They've been nerfed reasonably, but like if you're
They
dealing with
were
everything
horrible on
else, oh, they're awful. The other option here is going to be the tried and true gas grenade. Gas is arguably the best element in the entire game. It works on all 3 factions like very, very well. Having gas into bots is great because if you gas the bots, they stop shooting at you. They start shooting at each other a little bit because gas makes them blind, but they stop shooting directly at you because they can't see you anymore. And so that's really good at relieving pressure when they're kind of coming in and you don't have a lot of escape options. So gas is really, really rock solid for that. It's good for devastators. It's good for basic bot clear. It's good for shield devastators. It even works on hulks. It makes hulks kind of leave you alone if you're able to get it into them. So that's going to be up to you. For me, I'm going to be running thermites. Okay, there's just way too much that thermites are giving me that
I didn't even know it did half of what you said. Like, just stick it on the side of a factory and it'll destroy it is like actually really nice.
So that's going to be 1 for factory striders. That's going to be 1 for tanks. That's going to be another answer for hulks here. There we go. We're not really going to be using this on any of these medium enemies. We can use it on barragers, but you know, you're kind of just wasting ammo using it on barragers. I wouldn't really do that. Fabricators, that's going to be another 1 for fabricators. That is going to be another 1 for cannon clear. And so now we're kind of starting to flesh some stuff out with that thermite. So that's our basic loadout determined. We're taking heavy armor. We're taking fortified to survive explosions because a lot of these enemies fire rockets. And so we need some good heavy hitting answers to give back to them. All right. So again, we're going to talk about support weapons to start off with. Some really, really compelling answers in here. If no one on your team is running this, you should be running recoilless rifle. All right. Someone needs recoilless rifle. If you have the benefit of somebody else running recoilless rifle, then you can stay with your crossbow and you can run something different. All right. If you have to run the recoilless rifle, I highly recommend either an assault rifle, make it a light pin one if you like the light pin ones because you don't like the enemy staggering all over the place. Make it a medium pin one if you just want to make sure that you're getting enough damage in and you're very accurate, or run a DMR. Okay, run either the diligence counter sniper or the regular diligence get it done. Okay.
I highly recommend Deadeye from the new one. It felt a lot
Uh,
better than the
Deadeye. I
Diligence.
apologize. The Deadeye is also a really good answer. If you want my best option for you here, it's going to be the base diligence. It's light pen, so enemies do not get staggered by it. Okay? And because they don't get staggered by it, that means you can have some follow-up shots to try to knock those skulls out of those automatons. So, there's a couple really, really rock solid support weapons into this faction. I am a stand and fight sort of player into the bots. The reason I'm a stand and fight sort of player into the bots is because if you try to run from them, they're going to shoot you in the back and gun you down while you're trying to run away.
There's no common theme there with me.
Yes. Yeah. So, yes, there's a reason that you hate the bots. There's a reason I don't mind them at all and find them to actually honestly be more fun than the bugs. So I'm going to highly recommend the heavy machine gun, okay? You can run something like expendable anti-tank, you can run something like commando, you can run something like quasar, although I would really not recommend quasar. You can run something like the spear if you want to have some good answers to like factory striders, tanks, hulks, and cannons. Most of these AT weapons are only answering those things. They're answering cannons, they're answering hulks, tanks, and factory striders. Um, my argument for running any of these things is if you're going to run something anti-tank, it needs to be able to kill a factory strider for you. Otherwise, you're kind of just wasting that slot and, not getting enough value for it. So, I recommend the heavy machine gun personally, which means we're also going to take a second stratagem to go right along with it, and that is going to be the supply pack. And so we're going to explain what both of these are good for here really, really quickly together because they kind of come as a package deal into the bot front, in my opinion. The reason we're taking the heavy machine gun is because the heavy machine gun is an answer to gunships. It is an answer to scout cannons and regular cannons because you do not even have to get all the way to the back of them to do it. If you fire towards the back quarter of the side panels of the heavy turrets or the turret cannons, you will do enough damage to start hitting through and killing them. It is like very, very good at killing basic bots because a single bullet from this thing will penetrate a like basic bot and kill one behind it. So you can get double kills with it. It's very accurate, so it lets you deal with barragers because it's got heavy pin. It lets you deal with regular striders because, again, it has heavy pin, so you can just shoot them in the legs. And it deals with the rocket type ones because, again, heavy pin lets you just shoot them in the legs. If you get really accurate, you can just one ping the rockets and get 1 or 2 shots on the rockets on the side. Boom, gone. Mission accomplished. Devastators and bushers really do not like getting shot with heavy pin weapons. At all. It kind of will cut them in half in about 3 or 4 bullets maximum. I believe it's just 3 shots for pretty much all of them. If you're shooting them in the weak point, fuck them up. Just do that. It's also accurate enough to aim for heads. So shield devastators are taking 5 shots to the arm, and that thing is getting blown off by the heavy machine gun, and 2 shots to any devastator bot face, and they're gone. So we're going to get an answer to that. Hulks, you can shoot them dead in their faceplate. It does take about 10 shots to do, so make sure you take your time, aim with it, give it its time to do its work, and you're good to go on that, okay? It does struggle into tanks. I would not recommend trying to use the HMG on tanks. Factory Striders, you do actually get some good value out of this thing into Factory Striders, enough that I'm going to give it a point for Factory Striders. The reason I'm giving it a point for Factory Striders is you can't kill the cannon on top, but if you get close enough to the motherfucker, you don't have to worry about the cannon on top because it can't shoot straight down, and it can't shoot you as long as you're within about 25 meters of the Factory Strider. If you're within that 25-meter range of the Factory Strider, the cannon does not have enough vertical angle of attack to come down and shoot you, okay? That is a like tank level armor on that thing. So you do need a rocket launcher or something of that level to kill it. If you can hit it with a thermite, that'll do it actually. But you can knock out the chin guns pretty well, and then just start laying into the big red left eye. It's gonna take you 2 full magazines effectively. You know, like if you're moderately accurate, it's gonna take you basically 2 full magazines. But you can kill the Factory Strider this way. Best recommendation: be a psychopath, run under its belly, give it belly rubs with I think this is almost 50 BMG ammo. Just give it belly rubs with that, and you can kill it that way. It's medium pen underneath there. This will do it in a magazine if you can dump the whole magazine in there. The other really good thing about Supply Pack is that basically gives you infinite ammo crossbow bolts, infinite ammo Senator shots, and another 8 thermite, which means you're now running around with your starting 3 thermite and another 8 thermite. So you've got 11 thermite grenades, which means you can kill 11 fabricators, 11 tanks, 11 hulks, 11 cannons. That's doing a lot of work for you. So the supply pack is going to give us points for all of these things. So we're now getting a point for factory striders. We're now giving a point for tanks. We're now getting another point for hulks. We're getting another point for fabricators here. We're getting another point for cannons. And yeah, that's just doing pretty much all of that for us. All right. So what's left here? We've got a couple of things that we don't have necessarily good answers to. Okay. We've only got one answer to gunships, right? That's going to be our HMG. You're going to have to get good at this thing. You're going to have to learn how to use that and kind of lead your shots on that. We still don't have an answer for detector towers and disruptor towers quickly here. All right. We do have 3-ish answers to factory striders, but they require a lot of work. And we're kind of at the point where, you know, maybe they're taking too much effort. All right. Once you start to play this build, you'll understand exactly how limited it is to it. We do have 3 answers. It's a lot of work to solve this enemy. Easy solution to this enemy is going to be the Eagle 500 kg. All right. We're not mincing words on it. You should bring an Eagle 500 kg to deal with this enemy. Eagle 500 kg is solving a lot of other issues for us, okay? It's additional fabricator answers. It is an additional answer to hulks here. I really wouldn't use it on that, but you can use it on that. It's an additional answer to tanks here. And having both of them is an answer to factory striders, okay? With everything else that you've got, having the 500 kg is very, very important for killing factory striders, okay? And now you have an answer for detector towers, okay? An answer for detector towers. That's fantastic. You really do kind of need that here. It's not going to help you with the disruptor towers because the disruptors are going to be jammed on this, but you have an answer to that, okay? All right. So, what are we missing here? We're missing a little bit more work on the detector and disruptor towers, maybe a little bit more help with gunships. Let's think about something that we can do that's going to help us with those 2 things, or help us kind of stick it to some of these other enemies. All right, you got a couple options. The first one, and this one's going to be pretty straightforward, is the anti-tank emplacement. All right. Anti-tank emplacement, probably the strongest single stratagem into bots that you can bring. It's going to basically put a point on every single thing on this list, except for the detector and disruptor towers, all right? It will kill every single thing on this list, and you get 30 freaking shots with the damn thing. 30 shots of what is effectively commando rockets with a little bit more damage. I think they're just shy of Eats rocket damage. Is an incredible thing to have. You are locked in one place, but you do have near infinite range with this thing. It has no damage fall off because all of the damage is wrapped up in the explosion from the contact. All right. You have Rocket Sentry here. Rocket Sentry is also going to basically put a point on the board for every single thing here. That's really, really good. It's going to give you a little bit of aggro draw. It might be a little bit more supportive, things like that. Really, really good answer for that. Orbital Gas Strike. This is a workhorse item right here. Orbital gas strike or eagle strafing run. Those are going to be good answers for you one way or the other. I'd recommend either one. If it were me, I would personally lean more toward eagle strafing run here. But you do have 500 kg, so there's that. All right. Cool. You can also take something like orbital walking barrage. All right. Here's the deal with orbital walking barrage. Orbital walking barrage is an answer to detector towers, and it is actually an answer to disruptor towers. Okay? You just have to get really, really good at getting the right angle on this thing. I'm not going to recommend it because that level of like commitment to the thing is kind of crazy, but it will one-shot the disruptor tower because it does have enough demolition force to do so. The reason that you have to use anything else is because it's generally disrupting you. If you can go turn it off, 500 kgs will solve it. Orbital precision strikes will solve it. Even gas will solve it. But like the main problem is the fact that it's got a disruptor on you. You can hit it with walking barrage. You just have to know where to aim. I'm not going to get too far into that whole situation. All right. So, where does that leave us? With probably the best option that you're going to get for this. You can take portable hell bomb. All right. Portable hell bomb
portable hell bomb.
is a second backpack. All right. And a lot of people are going to look at you funny because you have two backpacks here. All right. But here's how this is going to work. You drop your supply pack to pick up your orbital or your portable hell bomb. You're not going to need more than 3 of these in a mission. If you spawn in a mission and you have more than 3 disruptor towers, I need you to take a fucking picture of that and send it to me so that I can start posting this all over social media and I can ask Arrowhead what the hell is wrong with their spawn algorithm that they're dropping more than 3 disruptor towers on you. Okay? Because that basically means the entire map is disrupted and you have to clear the map one tiny portion at a time, in which case the only thing that you can do is press Alt F4 or hit the power button on your PlayStation, come back, put the freaking ultimatum on to get the first one knocked out so you can have any of these other items to give you a chance here. Because you have no map to call in anything if that happens, all right? These things do not spawn close enough together ever for the overlap to be more than like 20 meters. Period. It's a huge radius, all right? They're 150 meter radius of no use shit. And if you spawn in the middle of them, you're fucked. So yeah, that happens. I swear to God, I mean it. Send me a picture, please. Okay. So you take the portable hell bomb. You are going to not likely need your supply backpack to fight your way into this thing. This is a suicide mission that you are doing. You are going to die here. It is worth it every time to die for a disruptor tower. Okay? You might not have to, but that's what this is it is a suicide mission, all right? So you'll take your fully loaded HMG, you'll take your hell bomb, and you will go kill that goddamn disruptor tower if it's the last thing that you do, because it will likely be the last thing that you do. And that is going to round out a really, really rock solid bot build that has answers to basically everything. The portable hell bomb is an answer to every single freaking thing on this list, and is going to make you the envy of all your friends when you turn yourself into a micro star and take like 80 enemies with you, because that's how the bots like to work. This is what you have to think about. You need, and the thing about bots is, unlike bugs, bugs need you only to really have like 2 points in anything. Bots are really, really, really requiring you to have 3 to 4 points in just about everything. Okay, bots are sending a lot of different types of stuff at you all the time. You do need to have a flexible answer for everything. So notice that this build has 5 ways to functionally kill a factory strider. Now, granted, 3 of those ways are tough, but you can get it done in a pinch. Tanks, you got 4 ways to deal with them. Hulks, you got a whopping 6 ways to deal with them. That enemy is officially not a problem for you. Shield Devastators, you got 4 good ways to deal with them. You got some backup answers if you so need it. Devastators and Butchers, you also have 4 ways to deal with them. This is the majority of the enemy, so having 4 ways to deal with all of them is going to be good. Barrager, Striders, Walkers, again, the standard enemy of the faction, 4 ways to deal with them, good. Basic bot clear, you only have 3 ways to deal with them, but, you know, they're so easy to kill. Everything in your kit is technically an answer, so, like, I could just start just putting points here, and it wouldn't be a lie. You know what I mean? I could put 7 points here, and it wouldn't be a lie, but it's not efficient like just shooting the crossbow at them. That is my number 1 recommendation. You're using your HMG as if it's a primary, so you're one-tapping most of them. That's good to go. Fabricator clear. You got 5 answers to any structure that they're going to put. If you get a gunship fabricator, you don't have to run in there and drop the hell bomb. You have a hell bomb backpack. You can run in there and use the hell bomb backpack. Like, that's going to save your soul. All right. Disruptor towers. It's a suicide mission to get it done, but fuck it. It's super Helldive into bots. The mission's going to end with a death anyway. Somebody is inevitably going to die. It might as well be you for a cause. Cannon clear. You've got great answers to that in every part of your kit. Gunships. Gunships are a very, very rare enemy type in this game. Trying to prepare too much for gunships is going to offset your build, like, really, really hard. You do not need to do that to yourself. Don't get caught in that trap. All right? Cool, cool.